This is the best of you and me. This is the weed that no one else is seeing, yeah, and no one else is seeing, yeah, yeah. When I get to dress down with my hand wrapped on, when you're walking around in your sweats and your rest with your t-shirt on.
Nah, it's cool what you wearing.
Ain't no need to change.
We united cause you fly.
When you looking blank,
Queen of Nubia, you killing.
with that head wrap on.
You communicating swag.
When they say it wrong,
You don't need those name brands.
to get compliments,
Your name is a brand.
and it's confidence,
But you still enjoy life.
and you have some fun. You know when to stay low and then turn it up. Yeah, all the ways I can describe you, yeah, I'm lost for words. And I swerve, swerve, swerve. You got lots of curves. Yeah, you all about the class, and I'm here to learn. Yeah, I read your body language, yeah, I'm such a nerd. I'm a simple man, I want simple things. You still a queen when you wearing jeans. Your life is swag, yeah, you keep them clean. When you check your mate, I'm still the king. We give and go, we a dangerous team. You ain't from here, we stranger things. You angel fly, I see your wings. I ain't blowing smoke, no gasoline. It's true. You the finest thing around.
Lights off, transparency on. Late night marriage with the richest. Late night marriage with the richest. You need that real talk, this is what you want. Lights off, transparency on. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on? It's Late Night with the Riches. I'm Damon.
Tamika.
And thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry, we just a couple of minutes behind. Had to change up some technology. But tell a neighbor, tell a friend, shoot, tell an enemy at this point that Late Night with the Riches is on. We are, tell the enemy, tell them too. We here. We here. We here now. We in the building, right? We wasn't sure if we was gonna come on. We was supposed to be out of town, but we postponed, moved our trip a little bit for our anniversary. On Monday, we celebrated 25 years, a quarter century of marriage. 25 years.
Yes.
I'm doing 25 to life, y'all. 25 to life. I'm doing 25 to life. Listen, but it's not about the years.
Right.
You want to have quality years.
For sure.
We definitely had some low quality years in the mix, but through the grace of God, His power, we made it to where we're at now. So
Amen.
We're grateful. We're thankful.
Very.
Because God has been really, really good to us, has been good to the Riches, and we get an opportunity to share some of our, oh my goodness, where my shirt at? Get my shirt. My night shirt right there. Get my night shirt. I ain't got my night shirt on.
You know, you don't get cold like that.
I really don't. Really don't. Let me get on my night shirt. Gotta get in uniform. Why are you not in uniform? Okay. I'm mostly in uniform. But 25 years of marriage, and we get the opportunity to share, let our knowledge, what we learned, become your wisdom, so that you can prevent some of this stuff. And we're looking forward to that. We are trying to plan a couple of things here close to the end of the year, get ready for some things in the beginning of the year, and just get on this marriage thing more and more and more. So
We're excited.
we are excited, super excited. Before we get out of here tonight, I'm going to ask you, and I have to think about it myself because this is so spontaneous. Share at least one lesson, nugget, whatever you want to call it, that you learned over 25 years of marriage. We'll do
Oh,
that.
that's my question?
Yeah, we both
Oh,
gonna
okay.
share one. Before we get out of here, we're gonna share at least one nugget, one nugget, one wise point, one takeaway, something, just one, a piece that we learned in 25 years of marriage. And you gonna go first. You ain't gonna get the piggyback off of me. I know how you like it. No, I know how you like to do. You like to piggyback off of me sometimes. Nope, I'm not going first. Ladies first. Ladies first. So, what is love? Is the topic.
What is love?
I knew you were gonna say I ain't even want to go there. I was gonna let you go there because I knew you was gonna go there. Like, what is love? And that's
I love a song to go with anything.
yeah, that's the song. What is love, right? Or there's got to be some more songs about. There was another song in my head that about what is love. Oh, I want to know what love is.
No.
I want you to show me. I don't know who sang that song, but I can remember from back in the day. I can look at the look at the sexiness. Yes, mom. Yes, we sexy out here in these streets. We sexy out here in these streets. So what is love? And I kind of wanted to address this because I've said on a few episodes, I've said more than once that love is a dumb reason to get married, horrible reason to get married. And I want to make sure that I give context around that because I think we need to talk about love. What is love? What thing? Oh. So I think we need to talk about what is love. And I'll dig maybe a little bit deeper into why I say that and why I take that stance. Because I think a lot of people get married for love and feelings and all the superficial stuff. And none of that stuff really lasts for that. So I want to talk about what is love. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I say love is a dumb reason to get married. Horrible reason to get married. Okay. So let me ask this question. Let me ask you this question. How, if at all, has your definition of love changed over 25 years? And before you answer that, thank you for everyone who wished us a happy anniversary. We really appreciate you. It's been 25 years, and we are grateful to God that we're still standing and that we're still growing and that we're still learning. Amen. And all of those good things as it relates to marriage and that we're able to share with you. But thank you for all of the wishes because you could have took your time to do something else like pick your nose, but you chose to wish us happy anniversary. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. So in 25 years, what have you learned or has your definition of love changed in 25 years?
Yes.
Okay. Explain.
No, because in the beginning, love was more based on not totally feelings, but mostly feelings.
Mostly feelings.
And I think you really learn what love is throughout the relationship. As you are faced with different things and obstacles and issues and problems and good and bad things, ups and downs and all the arounds, you truly get to walk out love and understand what it is. Because it's easy to say you love someone until, and it's easy to say when it's easy. You're
when
easy to love when
good.
things are going good. But when things are going bad, that's when your love is really tested. And then really standing in that and living in that and walking in that and coming out on the other side. Okay. Yeah. To say I hung in there and I really understand what love means now.
Right.
So even taking the scripture, because a lot of times I think we read it and we go, what is love? And I definitely go to it because it really is, but it's until you actually experience all those parts of what it is not, and understanding what it is as you walk those things out, is important, and you truly start to understand what love is. And for me, it's just asking God simply, what is love? And your version of it, not mine.
Right.
Because our version is so, different or superficial.
Mm-hmm.
So the real and deep, true understanding of what love is. And as he began to show me and unfold things, I go, oh, this is a lot, but this is what love is. So I was like, okay, God. And it's him showing us, and we can't even comprehend, I don't think, how much he loves us.
Right.
But the little we do for what he is, what he's shown me, I go, wow. I'm in awe of you all the time, God. I'm so in awe.
Love's like a hurricane, nigh on the tree, bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
And all of a sudden,
we singing in the
I was unaware of these afflictions, eclipsed by glory, and I realized just how beautiful you are, how great your affections are for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And no, okay. So no, because you said that. You said the superficial, which is why I say love is a dumb reason to get married. Because what I have learned after 25 years, what you call love at the beginning of marriage nowhere near reflects the level of love that you're going to need in order to sustain marriage. Nowhere near it. Right? Because God's love stands the test of time. And when he asks you to marry, and he says, you know what? I was having this conversation one day, and I had to think about it.
Hey to everyone.
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hey. And I had to go to this point of when it comes down to like understanding love and getting, it's like the word says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. No caveats. No caveats. And died for her and gave himself for her. And I was talking with a brother one day, and I had to chew on this a little bit. To a certain degree, it'd be easy that if your life was in danger for me to step in front of the bullet without even loving you. Because there's also, for men that are men, there's also a natural instinct to protect. Right? So it'd be easy. So even in our human mind, we still don't comprehend the fullness of die for her. Right? Because the die is on so many different levels. And dying for her is not giving her her weight. Right? Dying for her is dying to God so that he can use you to reconcile your bride, to help repair the breaches that are going to happen during marriage. You, husband, have to die for her, right? And I always teach, when I'm teaching my husband class or teaching husbands and working with them, is husbands have to be the first to die. Husbands have to be the first to die. It is, if you want change in your house, you have to be the first to die. If you want change in your marriage, if you want change in your spouse, you have to be the first to die. But here is the sacrificial part of dying as a husband. You have to die with absolutely no guarantee that your death, your sacrifice will be honored. And that's the tough part. But that's real love.
It is.
Because when Christ died for us, he died without zero. Christ did not know, because in that moment that he stepped into time, he did not know if a single person would heed to his message and live that life ongoing. Right? It's easy to live while he's walking around with you, but will you keep doing it ongoing? Right? But he still said, I'm going to get on the cross. He even said, I'm going to still get on the cross and die. And I know there are some people who are going to reject it. Matter of fact, they're going to be the reason I got up on the cross. They're going to help escort, they're going to arrange the service. Right? And he knew that, and he still did it. And that's the level of love that marriage over time will bring out of you. I'm wondering, I know Let had got the book. Oh my goodness. Sacred Marriage. Sacred Marriage. And I wonder what she's finding out in the book. I have to ask her to see how the book going. But that sacrificial piece, that is so important.
Right.
That sacrificial piece of love. But I don't think that, even when we think about sacrifice, we think our sacrifice, or our thinking of sacrifice, is quid pro quo. I'm going to lay down my life and you're going to do something for me. And it's like, there's no guarantee.
Right.
There's no guarantee.
We do want it to be transactional or get something in return.
Yes.
Yeah, because we are human, so we want to reciprocate the same type of love or what it is we are giving. We want to get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the thing, and you said,
and not that we're not deserving to get it back.
No, what was the word? You just used the word.
What? Reciprocate?
It's before that. Oh my goodness, is the word. I wish I didn't want to interrupt you.
Transactional?
Yes, transactional. That's the love that we start with. When we first dating and we marry people for love, we marry for a transactional love. And that's why it's absolutely a dumb reason to get married, because you're doing it based on the transaction. And I like something that Bishop Jake says sometimes, that a lot of times when people are, when you're dating, you're meeting the best version of that person.
Right.
You are meeting the absolute best version of that person. And if you are meeting the best version of that person, then guess what? Soon as y'all say I do, they say, ooh, it's a couple other people I want you to meet. Oh, you got some friends you ain't introduced me? No, the other side to me. Right? And that's where, again, we get married out of that transactional.
And sometimes I'll say this, it's not even the best version of them, it's the version that they want to be sometimes. Yes.
The version they want you to see.
Want you to see and want to be. Because sometimes people want to be a version of themselves that they are not yet, because they haven't done the work to be that person. And I think we've all struggled with that, because a lot of times, we're this person. And in our minds, we are. But we're really not that person, because we haven't done the work to be the person that we really want to be.
I'm glad you cleaned that up. Because I thought the people were going to come for you.
No.
You know what you mean? I ain't this person, because you really do want to be that person. But you haven't. I love the way you just put that. You have not done the work to be that person. Right? You've not done the work.
Right. And then sometimes we surprise ourselves, because it's a lot of times we get frustrated in doing things and trying to accomplish things, and it's going, why haven't I been able to do this, accomplish this, or I'm this, or I'm that, and we haven't taken the journey to really, see what qualities or things we do have, the ones we desire to have, the ones we don't have. And as for me, it's like asking God to show you who you are at that moment. Show me where I am and who I am. Right? Because He shows us a lot of times our end, I'll say, or the person that we do desire to be, and we see that person and we immediately try to step into that space
Mm-hmm.
without doing the things to properly get there. And I always go back to like the story of David when he was even, anointed king, but it was years before he actually stepped into that role of king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and a good friend was talking the other day, and he used the perfect analogy to me that I think fits what we're talking about. What a lot of times we'll want to do is we take the pill instead of just the behavior, and instead of we will take the pill
Mm-hmm.
instead of adjusting the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is, so you go to the doctor, testimony here, you got high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, change your diet, some exercise, lose some weight, your blood pressure come under control.
Right.
You don't do it. Doctor say your blood pressure is running too high, too frequently. We need to put you on something.
Mm-hmm.
Until or unless you change your diet, do some exercise, lose some weight, right? So we take the pill.
Mm-hmm.
Telling on myself, you get that pill, like, yeah, I want to hurry up and get off this medicine, so I need to do what I need to do.
Right.
But you get comfortable
Mm-hmm.
just popping the pill.
Right. And in your mind, you say you're okay. And then when you go to the doctor or somewhere to actually take the blood pressure, it looks like it's good because you're taking the pill.
Because you're taking the pill.
A better range, or what
Yeah.
we call a normal range.
Yes.
Right.
And so you get that thing, ooh, this finna be, I'm finna get in my bag. I'm finna get in my bag now. So, cause you just said something there. So I'm gonna finish out what he was saying, and then you just took me somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the pill, and what the pill does is it gives you a temporary,
Mm-hmm.
right, adjustment
Right.
in your blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the day, your blood pressure is back through the roof, depending on what you've done that day, blah, blah, blah. And it ain't going to go down again until a couple of hours after you take the next pill,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a temporary fix,
Right.
right? So you said something, and this why I had to get up and get my bag, is so we go to the doctor, and sometimes, especially if it's our annual physical, we do enough to make it look like you're down by 10, 15 pounds. Keep that up. If you keep that up, you get off the pill. The blood pressure look good. But the blood pressure only looks good. This is where you got me. The blood pressure only looks good because of the pill,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch this. Watch this. The relationship only looks good because I'm strong. I would tell any dating couple. I'm going to say a few things. First, let me say the unpopular thing.
What's that?
The unpopular thing is, I would tell any dating couple that if y'all are seriously considering marriage, stop having sex.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Stop. Don't have sex again until the day you go and do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me say the pastoral thing. Shouldn't be having sex whether y'all think about getting married or not. That's the pastoral thing. That's the truth. I can explain why you shouldn't, but because the church often doesn't explain. The church will tell, and I ain't gonna get on this soapbox. I'm hop on, hop off. I'm like tap up. The church tells people not to do something because it's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
because God said it's wrong. But the church doesn't tell people why
Mm-hmm.
God has a problem with the sin. God just said it, don't do it. No, God does nothing for no reason.
Right.
God has a reason
Mm-hmm.
why,
Mm-hmm.
right? He doesn't want you to do certain things. Now I'm going to step back off the soapbox. So now what happens is the sex is the pill.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because a lot of times you think you're in love.
You think you're in love, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sex is the pill. The nice dinner dates and all of those things that are probably not going to continue when you get married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the pills.
Mm-hmm.
It is not reality.
Right.
Those are the pills. So what ends up happening is you get into the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, and I'm gonna get to the thing you really fired me up about when you said what you said. But you get into the relationship. Once you get into the relationship, here's what ends up happening. Now they're off the pills.
Right.
Where they was letting you hit it up 2-3 times a week. And it's like, oh, I'm tired. Job ain't changed. Duties ain't changed. Matter of fact, some things got easier for you because y'all in the same house and your bills ain't as much weighing on you, right? But now it's less. You're like, oh, you decrease my dosage without adjusting the relationship.
Right.
Right? So now that's going to cause pressure to go up. Now, this why the conversation about blood pressure and when you said, and you made the statement about the doctor, why it really got me excited is because when I was going through blood pressure and I first got put on blood pressure medication, I was talking to my cousin and I told her what blood pressure. She's like, have you done this? Because I was on a water pill and something else. She's like, that's the wrong regimen. I was like, what you mean? She's like, for black people with blood pressure, you start treatment here. And she told me the thing to go look up. And sure enough, there's a whole chart that dictates how you're supposed to be treated for blood pressure based on if you're African American versus Caucasian. Right? And so when I went back to my doctor and told him, he's like, oh yeah, you know, and he kind of knew, but he started from what he's dealt with the most.
Right.
Oh my goodness, God, you finna bring something out here. He started out treating me based on what he deals with the most, which is because it's a Caucasian doctor. He probably deals with more Caucasians. It's just not even thinking. He's just trying to see the next patient do his thing. So I'm not faulting him on that. But I talked to my cousin, and she told me that. And when I told him, he's like, yeah. And I had noticed some other issues coming along with that water pill and that other thing. Like, hey, doc. Right?
Right.
Because one of the things about black men that will make us not take our doggone blood pressure medication is when the soldiers start having problems saluting. Okay? Huh?
It's hard to get you guys to take medicine.
It is already difficult.
Right.
And then the soldier gonna stop saluting because I'm taking this medicine? No, we just gonna die. Anyway, and so you go to this thing. Right? What?
I'm just thinking about Color Purple.
No. We ain't doing that.
No, but you saying that. I digress. Keep going.
So when after talking to my cousin and understanding that there's a regimen for this group of people versus this group of people, this is what just popped in my head even more. How many of you have sabotaged relationships because you still trying to treat person X that God has sent in your life, like person B, the person God ran out of your life. You have not changed or adjusted your dosage in your regimen for who is in your life.
Right.
Because with person B that God ran out, you had to walk on eggshells. You didn't get to be you. You didn't get to express certain parts of yourself. But with person A, you can be free, but you never let them in.
Right. We like textbook normals or things across the board. And so they have a lot of things with that. You start everybody out on this, you know, and then according to how they react, then you adjust. Up or down or add or take away and all of these things. Because remember, it's practicing medicine. Yeah.
A whole lot of practice. Practicing relationships.
Right. And so, you're definitely right. You have to adjust as you, and that's even in relationships overall. You don't treat one friend like you do all your friends.
Right.
Yeah. Each person is different. So you kind of got to treat each person different.
Right. And that's the thing. Am I adjusting, right? And I'm not talking about faking it.
Right.
I'm talking about, am I adjusting? Am I assuming that because Joe likes spaghetti, that John gonna like spaghetti, right? Am I assuming that because Jessica like purses that Sue gonna like purses, right? I am not taking the time to learn them. I'm treating everybody on default. And then I get upset because Jessica used to be over the moon about the purse. And now I got Susie that ain't even really moved like that. She like, oh, I would like to go on the fun station, or I would like to do something different with that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And even in sex, because a lot of us have had sex outside of marriage or been married before and had sex in that marriage and in a different marriage or whatever. But even in that, you go in with the same mindset, doing the same things, thinking, hey, this gonna work for him or her, and they don't even want that at all.
Hold on, before you keep going, you sure you want to keep talking about that?
Yeah.
Because I would go down that road.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My wife said I can go down the sex road. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about sex. And you're right.
Because one, we haven't ever learned how to properly communicate about it. What we like, what we don't.
She trying to
what
keep,
we want.
She trying to keep me from talking, y'all.
No,
she trying to keep me from talking. She trying to keep me from talking because when it come down to and you're right, and I think this is more. So there's several fronts. I think this is more for women than for men. That women are not good at knowing their body or saying this is what I want. Or this is what I need in the bedroom, right? And then get mad. Oh, he ain't do this. I don't know. You've been with your body your whole life, and you want me to master it with you telling me nothing. Right.
And I'll tell you one of the things. Well, we're still talking about love. We are, y'all. This goes all into it.
We took a left turn in Albuquerque,
no,
but we're
because
still
of
talking about
the communication, and a lot of times we as women assume because the male ego that you have to present it a certain way, or there's certain things that you can't say, or you have to fake things, all of the things. Woo! Instead of having an actual conversation, be like, babe, that's not working for me.
So listen. One of the worst things you can ever do. You know that most men know y'all faking it. And it's tearing your doggone house up and you ain't even know it. Because he knows it. Because if we're being real, a lot of men grew up, right? Watching porn or being exposed to it. They realize that woman on that thing, she was in the same video with John that she was with Jeff, and she making the same sounds. It don't take long to figure out that y'all know how to fake all of the moves and all of the good and all of that right there. That man knows if he's really into it. He knows when you're faking not, and when you sitting there doing, he's sitting there like, why bother? I'd rather you just tell me. Most men want you to talk back. Talk back to me. Tell me. No, mind. I'm going to sit back.
You're right.
Oh, see. No, tell me right. I told you not. I tried not to go down there.
No. I did whatchamacallit, so we talked about everything.
Yeah.
Women self, I've heard it all.
Yeah. But I'm saying the thing about it is like it ain't like his ego gonna be bruised, because at the end of the day, every man wants to be able to satisfy his woman. He does. He wants to believe he's an awesome lover. That's why. I say that.
No, I think you do have to be careful how you do talk or communicate, and not in a disrespectful way.
You can't be disrespectful.
What I say, talk up under
you can't talk up under the clothes off, but they ain't just doing it for me or whatever, because you might end up getting your feelings hurt, and he say some stuff about you. Right. You know what I'm saying? In the process, well, I can't do nothing with blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden this fight, and we got a divorce because
So healthy communication about
sex, but we're not taught that, and women for sure are not taught, because y'all are almost taught to be shameful about your body. So you don't even know. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you like. You can't find the spot, but you want him to find the spot. You all of that, all of that. Like, hey, you you have to really sis talking about she over there rolling. Uh, you have to get to a place of like being able to communicate, and it's how and what and this and that, and being able to do certain stuff. And so I just think that that's important. But if you don't open up and you don't have a conversation, or you don't say what you need, the most that I feel like women will say is like, "Well, I'm like a stove, not a microwave, and it'll warm me up." Okay, what buttons do I need to push?
That's true.
Happy to warm you up. What buttons? What buttons?
Right.
Tell me.
And then sometimes there's healing that needs to take place.
Yeah.
Because of traumas and different issues from past, and that's on men and women's side.
Yeah.
That you have to talk about.
Yeah.
As well. So it goes back to that communication part.
Communication.
Right.
Come and talk to me.
You were going to talk about something else.
What else?
Something you said.
You got me sidetracked now.
Love.
What about? I know it's love. Where I was going.
Something I said. Was it about the transactional?
I already done covered all that.
Oh, I thought.
Well, yeah, I covered that, and then you took a left at Sex Road, and then we started talking about that. But let's get back to love. Right. What is love, right? And again, sex clouds judgment. So if you are dating and y'all talking about marriage, ideally, I would love for y'all to stop having sex right now. But if you're not, you at least have to get the proposal, shut it down, and get to know each other.
Right.
Sex clouds judgment. Sex clouds judgment. I like something that Tim Ross does. He says that if a couple comes to him for premarital, him and his wife for premarital education, that they will not coach them if they are still having sex. They won't do it. Because they know, like, psychologically. So, let me...
It does. It really does.
She ready to get off the sex conversation. Sis, a little bit. That's going to have to be one. That's going to have to be one for the boot camp, where we can really get into it and really, somebody. I don't need nobody churn to walk across here. And like...
It may not be late night enough.
It might not be late night enough. I don't need nobody churn to walk across here. But... Here's the thing about why I'm going to go here real briefly about why God tells us to like not have sex before marriage, right? Let's just dig into it. It isn't just that it's wrong, right? Oh, it's wrong. Well, what's so wrong about it? God created sex. It breaks a system. It breaks a system. Because sex is a very powerful manipulation tool as well, right? On both sides. Right. Can be on both sides. And once you open your mind up to the possibilities, then it's difficult to shut that beast back off, right? Once you activate it, it's challenging to turn it off. But it breaks God's system. What system? The system for... again, in biblical days, sex was meant to be the marriage ceremony because you cut a covenant. You're entering into a covenant. And anytime there was a covenant, blood had to be shed. That breaks a system when we have premarital sex, because we're now removing the symbol of the covenant, which is the shedding of blood on that first sexual interaction. Right. So that's part of it. Also, it creates families that are often unbalanced because you can produce a seed and then end up not being with the father of the seed or the mother of the seed. And now that seed suffers. And what God's desire is that we would have godly seed, and that those seeds can foster and not have to deal with the pain and the trauma that can be caused from a home where their parents are not together, right? So those are some of the things. It breaks his system. It breaks his plan. If you look at almost any sin, you'll find out that the problem that God really has with it is it breaks his system.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks his plan. And God is a God of systems.
Mm-hmm.
So off that soapbox. So back to love. We've been on here for 41 minutes. We're gonna get out of here on time tonight. What the preacher say, don't push me. So you done already got me in my bag. I feel my help lifting. No, don't push me.
Yeah.
So what is love? Love is it's the totality. If we're gonna give God's love,
Mm-hmm.
love is the totality of things. And the totality of love is grace, mercy, compassion. Let's just stick with those three right quick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was gonna add
What?
the ones that are here: long suffering,
Oh,
kind, patient. Did you say patient?
oh, I wasn't gonna go through the whole list. I'm
Okay.
giving the high level.
Okay.
Love, because in order to exercise grace, mercy, and compassion, you got to have some long suffering.
Right.
You got to have some patience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But grace, mercy, and compassion. I'm gonna deal with those first. When you are dating someone, look for their capacity for grace, mercy, and compassion.
Yeah.
To understand what type of love you may or may not get in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like, oh, I treat a stranger this way, but I would never treat you that way, I would be very, very cautious, because very rarely, matter of fact, the Bible tells us that how we treat the least
Mm-hmm.
is what God judges us. So the people, if I'm mean towards the beggar on the street, then there's a chance that meanness is going to show up in the house, right? Because that's a part of my personality, who I am. It may be a reason why and something I need to deal with to get through that,
Right.
but it's that. So the first three things you really want to look for in that person to understand if they really have the capacity to love the way that God wants them to love is grace, mercy, and compassion. Hold on. My gimbal turned off. I know this thing ain't tripping. Y'all hold on. Oh, it done overheated or something. So, we're gonna see how this go. Yeah. I'm sorry. My camera is acting up. My tripod for it. But grace, mercy, and compassion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have those things? Do they extend those things to others? Again, it's easy to look at someone and say, "Oh, well, they ain't like that just with other people, but they're not like that with me," right? Mm-hmm. So you really have to understand: do they have that grace, mercy, and compassion?
Right.
And I know this from a personal perspective, because I think a lot of people because I'm not standoffish, but I can absolutely put distance between me and someone else, mm-hmm. with just how I posture myself, how I look. And actually for me, for years, it was a defense mechanism, mm-hmm. to not allow people to get closer to me.
Right.
Right. So it was a defense mechanism. So that's part of why I had that mindset or had certain things in how I would talk myself. But at my core, I used to always say I'm not a people person. And one of the things I've been learning, we got to have a conversation. Well, I might even cover that tonight. But I've learned on the other side of therapy that I do like people. It's not that I don't like people. I just don't like BS. I don't like nonsense. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I have a very short fuse for nonsense.
Right.
But I am okay with helping people that are open to actually being helped. Because it's people that absolutely, like you would think, now my auntie asked me one time, she like, you used to be angry or mean or something. She said, where that went? I said, oh, it's still there. Only when I need it. Only when I need it. And I found that as I matured, I needed less and less and less. Right? But I can absolutely go there. If you take me there, what Eric Thomas' wife say? If you pitch the tent, I will bring the circus.
Right.
Yeah, if you pitch the tent, I love when Dee Dee say that. If you pitch the tent, I'm gonna bring the circus. I can 100%. I can bring lions and tigers and bears and leopards and elephants and zebras.
Oh my.
Oh my! Right? I can bring them all. If you pitch the tent, I will bring the circus. But in general, I try and keep the animals in the cage, right? But grace, which is, let's just define it. Grace is unmerited favor, right? I'm gonna do you right, even though you don't deserve it, right?
Right.
Mercy is, I owe you some, but I ain't gonna give it to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? I owe you some. I really should give you this, but I'm gonna withhold it from you.
All right.
And compassion is the ability to try and understand where you're coming from, even if it hurt me, right? To gain perspective. That's that compassion part, right?
Right.
So those are those three components.
And sometimes not even if it hurts you, just if you don't understand it. Because you can give or show people compassion that is not necessarily tried to hurt you in some form, but because you can show compassion to anyone, but just knowing how to, is a part of even empathy to show I can be compassionate towards you, even though I may not understand or I'm not in your shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not in your shoes. And that's one
I
of
can
the,
show love towards you.
right. And that's one of the things that I look at, like, for example, and I know some preachers will feel different kind of ways about it. I am not someone who, as it relates to the LGBTQ community, I don't necessarily agree with their lifestyle, right? But I do agree with their human journey.
Oh, yeah.
They have something to go through. I can never fully step into their shoes because that's not a struggle or anything that I've had. But I am absolutely not okay with people bullying and singling them out and picking on them. When I look at all of the acrobatics of things you have to look past just to get to them.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah, and you can show that compassion.
I can show that. I can show that compassion. Right? Now, part of what happens sometimes with that community is somebody can look at this video and me just saying that and say, Damon is against this and we should ban Damon. If that's how you feel about it, that's fine. Because I don't want anybody to bully you, but I'm also not going to be bullied or suffer for you to bully back. I think a lot of things don't get solved in life and in marriages and relationships because no one will sit down and have the tough conversations.
Right.
And there are tough conversations to be had. Right? So the brother, leave that tiger alone. So you have to look at it so there's the grace, the mercy, and the compassion. You got to look for those things.
Right.
Do they have compassion? Now, the other side are things that you may not see show up until you're in the marriage. Because I am not a fan of telling women to submit to a boyfriend. There should be some indicators that you are willing to be a submissive wife, but submitting to a boyfriend is not what the word has called for.
Right.
It's not what the word has called for, right? You're not submitting. You can respect him, right? Respect who he is as a man.
Right.
But that whole submission thing.
And that's a part of not giving married benefits or wife benefits or husband benefits to someone who is not that.
Exactly.
That has not taken on that commitment.
Some I try and teach
or
my
said
kids.
I do.
Yes. It's not. Listen, I would even tell a young lady or a young man, because it's dudes that like to cook or whatever. Don't you cook too many meals for them? You can demonstrate your skills every now and again.
Right.
But cooking,
just to let them know you
just
can.
to let them know, just because you can don't mean that you should.
Right.
And in the event of some people that I know that might be on here that we love very dearly, if you can't cook, don't be out there faking it till you make it. We done talked about this. No faking it till we make it. Burn down the house, right? But I'm just teasing. I'm teasing, sis. Um, but don't you demonstrate, but you don't keep doing it. That's a wife benefit.
Right.
And if on the kindness of your heart, you're like, hey, I cooked Sunday dinner, and you was cooking anyway, and they come on, and you invite them over, that's a whole nother ball game. But going out of your way, like I'm gonna buy extra food and cook extra food to cook you a meal and make sure you come and eat with it. If that's what you choose to do, you can. I'm saying, wait.
Right.
I am so proud of you, sis. Don't even play in there. Don't even play. You can do it if you want to, though. But don't give wife or husband benefits. Hey, sir, you ain't got no business paying no cell phone bills. If you her birthday coming up or something, you're like, girl, I'm gonna just take care of this for you. Right up. You do something, or hey, I just want to fill up your car with gas or whatever. Hey, meet me at Sam's. I'm gonna fill your car up or whatever. And you want to do that every now and again out of the kindness of your heart, no quid pro quo about it. That's fine. Don't do that on the regular. Don't make that an expectation. Right?
Right.
Don't make that as an expectation. There should be something reserved for your wife. There should be something reserved for your husband. And cohabitation does not help you have a better marriage. It does not. In fact, it sets your marriage up for failure because even though you're living in the same house together, you still have not met them fully.
Right.
Cohabitation don't help. In the words of Tupac, and the Hennessy don't help. The Hennessy don't help.
Right.
Yeah, it don't. It don't. So don't give wife privileges, husband privileges to a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? But the other parts of love, and the reason I'm talking about that is because submission, respect, sacrifice, those are the other parts of love.
Right.
Submission, respect, and sacrifice, those are the other parts of love. Those will not necessarily show up. You won't see those fully. You should see some hints. You should see some hints while you're dating, but you won't see, nor should you experience the fullness of those.
Right.
I ain't got no business sacrificing for you, and we just dating.
Right. But make sure you look for them and you're getting to know that person. Not necessarily about what they're saying, but their actions and what they're doing and how they're taking care of themselves.
Yes.
You know, and if they can do these things for themselves, hey, then I know they'll be able to bring someone else in and we can do this together.
Keep talking.
Or do those things for me. But a lot of times we listen to words or what they say and not necessarily to the actions. Yeah. And a lot of times one of the other things that women do a lot of times, and I don't know, maybe men too, but we tell so much up front about what we're looking for and what we want to the person takes that in, becomes that person long enough to get you, to draw you in. You know, and then you find out that that is not the person who you thought you knew or was getting to know or married. That's not the person at all. Yeah. Yeah. But again, we did say, or things will show up throughout the life of the marriage that sometimes even the person themselves wasn't aware of or didn't know that was an issue with them.
Right.
And we talked about that in one of our other Wednesday nights or late nights.
Yeah. What did I say? Sacrifice, respect, Lord. Lord. Submission. Yeah. I'm just seeing something. I might not show y'all nothing.
You're trying to connect the dots.
I'm trying to connect the dots because grace I'm working out something in my head. Y'all seeing my thoughts form. Y'all, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Because I'm trying to look at, because there's a correlation between compassion, compassion and sacrifice, compassion and respect and mercy. So I got to work this out. I'm gonna work something out, and I'll show it to y'all later. Because my mind start work. I'm sorry, my mind start working on something, and it just now I'm gonna obsess over it until I see, because there's a correlation between those things. Because I want to be able to share with you how to identify those things you shouldn't give pre-marriage, how to give those things, identify the capacity for those things during the dating phase. Right. Because I want you to be able to understand that. It is now one of the things you look at how they interact with other people that they love and those type of things. That'll give you some of that, right? But it won't give you all of it if you don't understand the relationships that they have with those people. Because you might think, oh, they kind of cold to their mom, but you don't know that their mom used to beat the brakes off of them, and they still have some traumatic things, so they love their mom from a distance. They still love her. She's not that same person, but they still have some things they haven't resolved or dealt with mom. Right. So it's really, really important that like when you're looking for them, look for their capacity to love. And that love is signified by those 6 things: grace, mercy, compassion. I'll tell you something for men, and you can tell me how this affects from a woman's perspective. If she did not grow up with a healthy relationship with her father or a prominent male figure in her life that was a constant, right? A grandfather, an uncle that was constant. I ain't talking about they saw him at family reunions and Sunday dinners, but was a constant, near constant, almost took on that father role. If she did not see him modeling, seeing women respect that man, him being a respectful man, right? Then she is likely, not 100% guaranteed, likely to struggle with respecting you. Because she's never seen it. She's never seen it in its fullness. And she may have seen it and never seen it in a healthy way. Because respect and fear can look a lot alike. Right? So she may not have seen it in a healthy way. And that may be something that she will struggle with in life. I would say that on the other side, depending on for a boy, that what can you say?
For
wives,
it's more than, and I know this is like old school and going back. Love was told to us, or we thought love a lot of times was as long as he paid the bills, brought home the money, and took care of those things in the house. That was love. And that's not necessarily how that goes.
See, there's a viral video going around now.
Or what that means.
Right. Well, there's a viral video going around now about this older lady, or this older lady, and they say, if your husband cheated on you, this and that, would you leave? And she's like, no, leaving my husband. And she's like, why? And she just broke it down. She's like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. He taking care of the house, and we provided for it, this and that. Why am I gonna go and leave it? And she went, and it's split on how people feel about that. But I bring that up because it's the old school that you're talking about. She like, he ain't brought none of that drama to the house. He did this and this and that. Why would I leave my husband?
Right.
Because they really believe death do us part.
Right. But a lot of times that was definitely unhealthy because there was no communication. There were so many dysfunctional things going on. But if you never said anything or tiptoed around it or never addressed the elephant, then you would say it's okay. Or in your mind, you're going, you know it's really not okay, but you're pretending that it is and that this person really loves me.
Right.
because they do these things. So it goes back to transactional again.
Right.
And a lot of times we are taught that love is transactional. If they're giving these things, then they love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put
and these things meaning material
right.
things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a video out earlier today, I think it was a reel, about particularly for dating couples, is that if you date, you're dating for marriage, you're gonna eventually go to the altar and you're gonna hear the word, what God has put together, let no man tear asunder. When I perform a wedding ceremony, I add something in conjunction with that, and it is, if you cannot help them, do not hurt them. Mm-hmm. And that takes on levels.
Right.
If you cannot help this couple, do not hurt them. Right. And can I talk about the fact that one of probably the most detrimental things to marriage is the loss of community? When we went to what happens in this house stays in our house, marriage was created to be, and always has been, a community affair. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be in your neighbor's business, not for gossip purposes, but those people showed up at your wedding because they are witnesses. Mm-hmm. And if they found you not holding your vows, they had a responsibility. I can't tell you how many times we've had the debate. Y'all drop your answer in the chat. I'm going to ask this question. If you saw your best friend, husband, out with somebody, would you tell your best friend? How would you handle that? Would you tell them? You can either just put yes, or you can drop down there how you would handle it, right? Because marriage has been a community affair, and we've lost that sense of community, of it being a community affair, right? Which is why I asked that question, because hey, my dog, my man, but it's a community affair because that's why you have people at your wedding. Mm-hmm. They are witnesses. They are witnesses. And they are there to hold you accountable to your vows. Right. Now, if I saw my best friend, girl, out with another dude, and it's clear something going on, I'm going to make sure she see me. And I'm going to make sure I get in touch with her and say, you got 24 hours. That's what I'm talking about, Alexis. Hey, how y'all doing? Right at the table. As, how Shirley Ann doing? Tell her I ain't talked to her. Tell her I'm going to give her a call tomorrow. All of that, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, how John doing? Tell him I'm going to give him a call tomorrow. And then I'm going to tell her, listen, you got 24 hours to tell my dog what's going on. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to be having a conversation. Right? With my dog. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving you the opportunity to come clean. And do. And some people, well, that ain't your business. You ain't got nothing to do. No. Not it. You know what? If it's a side in marriage, yes. I have nothing to do with it. But if it's godly marriage, if y'all stood up there and said some vows to God, oh, I got something to say. Mm-hmm. I got it. Is this thing on? Hey, bro, you can get mad. Well, I don't want them to get mad at me because you know they just gonna stay together. That's perfectly fine. But what they won't do is come back and say, well, Damon, you knew about it. You ain't even tell him. Yeah, you thought he was your friend and he knew it. He ain't even say it because they're going to try and get the heat over them. Nope. Is this thing on? Hey, bro, you good, man? Yeah. Oh, I saw your wife the other day. Mm-hmm. Did she tell you? No, she didn't tell me. She saw you. Where you saw her at? She didn't tell you she saw me. Oh, man. Shoot, hold on, bro. I got a call. Whew. Get myself together. Game time. Hey, bro. Hey, man, what you doing this evening? We should go grab a drink and a stick. You got some time? Cool. I see you that night. I see you tonight.
Hopefully, if you know them both and you have the relationship capital with them both that you can have the conversation together?
Oh no, I ain't finna be in the middle. I ain't refereeing.
Mediating.
No.
But not necessarily mediate. You coming together with them.
I'm not finna be standing there and tell that man or that woman that your spouse did. I ain't even playing like that.
Okay,
I don't want to be in the middle of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be in the middle of it like that. I want to be able to share, but I hope, like my hope and prayers, that they would be able to go and talk to their spouse and share.
Right.
9 times 10 they're not, but I would hope that they would be able to do that and share. But kind of the way I'm built, I ain't even got to know you. Depending on your role, I see a pastor out. Pastor, I know that ain't your wife, and I know you don't kiss your members on the lip. Huh. And I have no, hey, bro, what's going on? How you doing? How the wife doing? I ain't even got to know y'all like that. I'm going to roll up on you. Roll up on you. Oh, we doing good, man. I get with you. Like, no, get with me now. Let's talk.
Right.
But cause again, so where I was going as relates, you know, let me get off in the left field, baby. You supposed to be reel me in.
Come back.
So the reason I bring that up is because what I was telling dating couples, you're going to get to that altar, you're going to hear what God has put together, let no man tear asunder. Please make sure God is putting you together. Sometimes I have seen people who got married because they had great chemistry, they were really good friends, and they just thought they made that next natural leap. But they were really there on mission or assignment, and they were really just supposed to be these really good friends. And you figure that out because after they get a divorce, because that's usually what happens, they still end up being really good friends. But they just realize, man, we took it one step too far. So make sure that when you're looking at this thing, that you are rolling in a way that you understand that, hey, this is something that God has put together. Right. And I can tell you that if you ask God, He will confirm it for you. He will tell you. He will give you that peace inner, or He will give you a disturb where you can't, you know, when you're trying to talk yourself into something, right? I learned this powerful lesson. We finna let y'all go because we went over. I learned this powerful lesson when I was making a career change. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it had to be God, because I don't care how I Google this, I cannot find this article again. And it says how to know, it's like how to make a decision. And so I was reading it. And the guy basically boiled it down to this. He said, if you're trying to make a decision and you have more than one reason for why you are making the decision, you're not actually making the decision, you're talking yourself into it. He says, when you make a decision, you need one reason for why you're making the decision. Now, there may be other peripheral things that are around that support the decision, but the why is a singular thing. So when I was leaving that job, I had a whole list. I happened to come across that thing, and I couldn't get peace about leaving until I followed that article's advice. And I had a whole list, and I wrote down all the reasons. This person been mistreating me and getting sideways. I'm gonna end up needing bail money. This person and this, ain't nobody listening to me. I'm putting in too much work to have to rework because these people. I had about 10, 15 things on there. After I read that, I got real quiet and I focused. And this is the powerful thing about the reason. Damon, why are you making this decision? And I started going down that list. Nope, not that, not that. And after I knocked everything off the list, okay, Damon, why are you making that decision? And the quietness in my spirit said, because it's time. Once I heard that whisper, it's time. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
Right.
It's time. Oh man, I'm like, so.
And in your relationship, it should be purpose.
It's in your relationship. It should be purpose. But when you first make that decision, because a lot of people are not in touch with their purpose,
or purpose with that person.
Yeah, purpose with that person. God's return on investment, right? But because a lot of people are not familiar with purpose, like how to find your purpose. I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna go because you got to answer your question.
Oh.
Yeah. One lesson, one nugget you want to drop with people from 25 years of marriage. So go ahead and be thinking about it. Right. Here's how you find purpose. Your purpose is usually going to be around something that you have had to overcome. And you overcame it by all other accounts, by others. It looked easy almost, right? That's beginning of, that'll give you the breadcrumbs. That'll give you the breadcrumbs. This is your individual purpose, and I'm gonna get the relational purpose. Now, those are the breadcrumbs. Is I look back, oh my goodness, this is this thing that I came over. People always ask me, how did you deal with that? And I find myself talking about it all the time. Now, when you're talking about it and you're helping other people navigate it, you have almost an out-of-body experience. I like to call it you feel like you're disconnected from the earth. Whenever I am ministering or talking to or teaching about marriage, I feel, or helping build people in general, I feel disconnected from the earth. I have literally an out-of-body experience, meaning I'm watching me talk to them so much so that when they're asking me, man, you said this, man, it really changed my perspective on marriage. You said this, and it really changed the way I deal with my wife, or I deal with my husband, and it's transformed my marriage. I'll hear all of that, and I don't remember, unless God brings it back to my remembrance, ever saying it. You remember you said that? And they're like, oh, yeah. And then I can recount it, but I don't remember it because it wasn't me saying it in that moment, because I was having that experience. So you feel super light, disconnected from the earth. It's usually connected. It doesn't even have to be traumatic, but it's connected with something that you had to overcome that took you in a lot of healing and it took a lot of emotional fortitude and focus and discipline to overcome it. Right? And then you get to teach other people to do it. All right? Now, when it comes to relational purpose, your purpose should not diminish because you married this person. It should become the Power Rangers, the GoBots, the whatever it is, the Voltron, depending on how old you are, where it all comes together and it forms almost a super purpose. And they feed each other. They support each other. And it is something that the two of you do together that it serves a greater purpose than just the two of you. So it's never going to look like a goal. Right. It's going to be something greater. Right? So say the thing that you had to overcome was you wanted to dance as a kid, but your parents really couldn't, or say, in all of your friends, they got to do it or whatever. And that really crushed you because that was really a dream of yours. But you found the fortitude, you got over it, you this and that, and you got through that situation, and people start coming to you about how to recover lost dreams, right? And you're able to guide them to how to recover lost dreams, and it works for them, right? Oh, I just found purpose. When you talking to them and you coaching it, what's difficult for them, they like, how you got from point A to point B? I don't even understand, but it makes so much sense. Oh my goodness, it's changed my life. Purpose. Purpose is happening, right? Now, that was your thing. Hubby came from a situation where he always had, but he didn't have a parent present, right? Boom, he understands how to deal with kids that don't have parents. Now, both of us are able to come together and minister to, right? So now maybe you might teach moms or dads how to find affordable dancing or whatever that case may be. Those two things will just come together. This isn't the best example, but you get it. So, all right.
Yeah, usually your single purposes mesh.
They mesh together. and they serve something greater
Mm-hmm.
than you. They leave a legacy.
Right.
They leave a legacy. So before we get out of here, we celebrated Monday, quarter century of marriage. We thank you all. We're going to drop each of us a lesson, just one lesson, one nugget from 25 years of marriage that we learned that we hope would bless you. And here you go.
There you go.
Nope.
I thought you was going first.
Nope. I told you I was
So
going
I'll
to
come back after you go, but I'll go first. Okay. I'm thinking. And he knows it usually takes me longer to think just because of my thinking process.
She like piggyback on me.
Not all the time, but
You're out the camera. I want
but sometimes
I want them to see you thinking.
But sometimes. So I was thinking the main thing for me was my voice and actually speaking up where I didn't earlier in marriage. Really, if it's on your mind, on your heart to say, make sure that you say it and that you don't not voice your concern, your opinion, what you really think, but for whatever reason it is, because you think it'll be easier if you don't. There won't be any conflict because the conflict will come later down the road after you've built up that bitterness and resentment from not letting your voice be heard or speaking on what it is that you wanted to speak on and either was afraid to speak on or just thought it wasn't going to be taken the right way, or it was going to create an argument or a disagreement, any of those things. Learn to communicate. Now, you do have to be cautious about how you communicate it, but make sure you do communicate it.
Okay.
Yeah. So making sure you use your voice and don't lose your voice throughout the marriage.
Yeah.
And let your husband know exactly what it is that concerns you, or that if it's even is, because I like the 3 C's for women, even if it's consideration, and a lot of times you don't feel like you're considered, or it's a double standard when you bring something to the table versus him bringing something to the table, or you feel like he just doesn't ask your opinion or get your input or feedback before decisions are made in your relationship or your marriage. And that's important. If that's very important to you, which it should be, make sure you communicate that. Okay. And so for me, it was just learning to speak up.
All right.
And talk about things that I normally wouldn't.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my nugget from 25.
One of the nuggets.
My nugget for 25 years is update your software. What I mean by update your software is give your spouse credit for growth. Give your significant other credit for growth. Stop dealing with the outdated version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop dealing with the outdated version of your spouse. Understand,
Mm-hmm.
though, that there are going to be times where they regress in their growth. You also have to adjust for that as well, right? That model is because we deal with this thing of outgrowing, I outgrew them or whatever. No, what you stop doing is you stop updating your software and not giving them credit for growth. So they stop even trying to display their growth because you weren't seeing it anyway, because you were still married to who they used to be. You didn't give them credit for the growth, even if it was incremental. Like, hey, babe, I appreciate that. I see you making a better effort on that. I appreciate that, or whatever. But a lot of times what will kill a relationship is a wait and see mentality.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of couples exercise the wait and see mentality. That wait and see mentality is well, they made a change. I'm gonna see how long it lasts. Instead of encouraging them and say, I appreciate that, which will encourage them to keep adjusting that change. But if you're just waiting for them to finally revert, and like, I knew it. See, I saw you doing it, but I knew you weren't gonna stick to it. Then they're not. So make sure that you update your software and give your spouse credit for their growth.
And that you are not just, that made me think about,
Ain't that
piggybacking.
deal?
No, it's different, but it's a little bit, you made me think about it. And that you were growing on your own anyways and doing your work regardless of what they're doing. Because the wait and see is like, oh, well, I'm going to do this, or whenever I see them do this, or grow, or progress. You do your own thing, and you grow, and you move, and you evolve regardless. Because you're trying to be the best version of you outside of them.
Yeah.
But it can only make you better together anyways. And
it can only make you a better person. And the biggest, like I said, I've only ever heard women say this, no lie. I've only heard women say they outgrew a man. And the reality is, that's a good thing to a degree. And there's levels to it. But let me put it in this way. You want that man to be secure. You want that man to provide security. You want that man to provide, and you want him to provide provision, and you want him to provide pay bills, provide those things or whatever. You know what it takes for him to provide, to be a constant? He has to be stable. If he's always changing, then all that stuff you say you want from him, it can't happen. He has to be constant. And so the thing that you're so boring. His boring makes sure you don't have to worry about the lights. His boring, right? And that's how it is. And I'm not giving that as an excuse, but he might just choose to express that or spend things differently or do things differently or whatever. But that same stability that you saying you're outgrowing, that's the same stability that makes you feel safe to go and even try and dare to dream. Because like, oh, he got this on live. So, yeah. So that's it. That's it.
And invest in you, yourself.
Yeah. Both of you. Invest in you. She gonna give you 3 more if I don't hit this cutoff. Hey, listen, we thank y'all.
Invest in your marriage.
Invest in your marriage. Invest in your relationship. Right. All that good stuff. Hey, do your thing. If you're dating, listen, I'm going to say this last thing. Then I'm going to hit the stop button. If you're dating, time is the most valuable asset. If you know y'all ain't going nowhere, move on. Stop wasting your time and theirs.
Oh, no.
What?
Right.
Stop wasting your time and theirs. Move on. Right? And that's not even trying to be cruel or mean or haphazard or cavalier. I'm saying you don't get more time. You don't get more time. So that's it.
Right. Especially when you're of a certain age. Not that you should when you're younger, but a lot of times you don't know when you're younger, so you have a little bit, or you think you have a little bit more time to play with. But when you're a certain age.
So we're going to leave this show right now, because I'm going to say something else if I do. But we thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. And Angela made a comment. I was trying to read it earlier. Hey, Angela.
Yeah.
And everybody that's on.
Yeah. We finna go.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, you steadily. Hey, how you doing? Yay.
Good night.
Good night. We finna get out of here. Make sure to tell a friend, tell a neighbor, whatever. Go over to our YouTube channel, Late Night Marriage on YouTube. Subscribe and like. We really need to get up to like 100 and some odd subscribers. So we need to make that happen. So y'all have a good one. I'm going to bed. We love you for real. And we'll see you next week, I think. Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. God bless.